the conversation about the Patriots that's leaked out certainly nationally in the last couple of weeks has been the play calling. We played that soundbite from the other day, Tom, with Belichick was asked about who's calling the plays, and he's like, what, like minicamp plays? Like, what are you talking about here? And the conversation, though, is about once it hits, it being the season, who's calling the plays offensively? What do you think is going to happen there now that Josh McDaniels is in Las Vegas, Tom?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Joe Judge. Joe Judge is spending all his time with the offense during these OTAs, all his time with Mac Jones. He's the quarterback's coach. Belichick is overseeing the offense almost to the complete exclusion, again, in the sessions we're seeing. Maybe in the sessions that we're not there, Belichick is over with the defense. I doubt it. But he's overseeing what Joe Judge is doing with the offense, and he's tweaking things. I believe the intention is to have Joe Judge be the play caller, quarterback's coach, de facto offensive coordinator. But until Bill believes that he's fully up to speed, Bill will remain the in case of emergency break glass, and Joe, I'll do this for a little while. But it can't be Matt Patricia. We talked to Matt Castle last week. Phil Perry, my colleague, talked to Castle. And Castle goes, look, I've played for 7 different teams, 14 seasons in the league. Never did our play caller not spend every meeting with the quarterbacks. So Matt Patricia's the offensive line coach. He's not going to waltz in and say, all right, Mac, here's what we're going to run on 2nd and 8 from the 32, when he doesn't have a grip on it. So it's going to most likely be Joe Judge.
I mean, what a crucial gig this is at a crucial time, too.
Agreed.
Tom, I mean, like that's why the question is being asked over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, thank God they have him and not, say, Zach Wilson or Trey Lance. You know, those being the best examples, I think, of guys who had the steepest learning curves. What if those guys were sitting there at 15 instead of Mac Jones? I mean, Mac, he's kind of plug and play. They're lucky they have him.
Well, I mean, in the fact that he's plug and play and he has a certain, I guess, maturity about him, not just neck up, but in his abilities to be the vessel of the do your job mentality on offense. But if I had told you last year when McDaniels was coordinating the offense for the umpteenth straight year and Mac Jones was looking the way he was looking, that the guy who okayed, greenlit the first ever in my time watching the NFL, I guess, surrender formation that caused him to get fired as the head coach of the Giants, that's the guy that's going to take the reins of Mac Jones's career in offense in year 2. I don't know how many Patriots fans would have been like, yeah, let's do that, you know?
And that's the interesting thing. I think if you're here in New England, you hear more scrutiny, doubt, I guess might be a word, or Bill has had some dubious decisions over the last decade. And, yeah, they've won Super Bowls in 16, but we can look at the 17th season and see how that ended. And I kind of think we can all agree that it was a dubious decision to sit their cornerback who would play 98.2% of the plays. It was a dubious decision to move on from Tom Brady, which has been borne out. So the drafting has been dubious. So when we look at the Joe Judge decision, there are fewer people in New England than you might expect who say, okay, and Bill, we trust. I think there's a lot of scrutiny on that. And there's a lot of, okay, well, why? Why Joe Judge? What was the ascendancy plan for offensive coordinator when you knew Josh McDaniels was going to go, that Joe Judge was going to get fired in New York and he'd become the offensive coordinator? So those are the types of things that make Patriots fans or media say, you're walking on a thin branch out there, Bill.
So could he be part of the group of skeptics? Because what's I mean, you're a Belichick veteran, Tom Curran. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't? What's the point of keeping this whole thing a secret? I know he's done that on defense. I know that's been something that he's done for years, even with his own son calling plays on defense. He just never puts it out there who's doing it in the same way that all 31 teams do, because what's the big deal? What is his philosophy on all that? What's
I think his philosophy is he wants it to be a one voice buck stops here type of operation. And, you know, as I said to him when we were at the owners' meetings, like, Bill, titles do matter around the league. I said, titles didn't matter to you when you were in the Giants system in the 80s or when you were with the Jets? Titles don't matter. Well, that's how guys advance in the league. If you're Gerard Mayo and you have to go into a head coaching interview and explain exactly what your job is because you're just the linebackers coach and why should you be considered as a head coach, and you have to sell that to your local media, I think that is an obstacle that's not necessary. Personally, Bill's running a team and he's been to 9 Super Bowls and won 6, but I don't think the coaches love it. I don't think that they're delighted that they have to sit there and play Mickey the Dunce about what their jobs are. But Bill, at 70, with the resume he has, feels emboldened to do what he's going to do, and he does.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.